everybody, and welcome back to Neo Arcade. I am Ash, this is Echo, and we're here to share our picks for top 10 play-to-earn games you can play on mobile right now. Echo, what's up, man?
Oh, nothing much, man. I'm excited about this. We're mobile gamers ourselves, so this is an exciting topic. Another little bit more information here is these are all also available on iOS. I know a lot of times some games aren't available on Android and iOS, but you can get all these on your Apple device. Ash, why don't we dive right in? And I want to start with an OG being Axie Infinity. We have to start with Axie because that's where everything all started.
The OG, right? The OG. And honestly, I'm going to be real with you. I never played, but I was heavily not involved, but working with the creators in our day jobs. So very familiar. And I was surprised by kind of the new gameplay, the newish gameplay. Like they spruced it up quite a bit. It felt like in the beginning days, it felt like watching this, I'm just going to be real, I had zero appeal. Like it felt incredibly just not just juvenile in terms of the art, which is fine. There's always, there's a player base in the community for everything, but it felt so surface to me, just as a viewer. But now, between the card system, between the graphics being really spruced up, a lot of updates have came in the last few years, even though the player base has really diminished too. So what is your experience with Axie Infinity?
Very little as well. All I know is that a lot of people made a lot of money, and that's probably why they were able to spruce up their game as well. This was the entry to Web3 in gaming, into people being able to play something and earn from it. And I specifically know many people that did very well playing this game, but we really don't focus so much here about how to make a ton of money playing the games. We really want to look at good gameplay experiences as well. So this one is definitely one that did a lot of players well, but it maybe does lack in some of that gameplay experience, some of which we may see in some of the next games just a little bit better.
Yeah, I'm really interested to hear what the viewers think about Axie Infinity, especially if you are part of the community or still are a part of the community, because I do see it's impossible not to notice the player base has gone way down. The social engagement has gone way down. It seems like the most involved players in their community and figureheads in the community have kind of faded out. So is it prime or poised to make any sort of a comeback? Or is it kind of a an artifact of yesteryear here? We'll see. Let us know in the comments if you have any opinions on that.
Either way, it had to be on the list because it is one of the original and the most popular of all time. And
you can still download and play today?
You can. And why don't we move on though? Let's move on to the next one. We talked a little bit in our last episode about card style games and how those are really great in the Web3 space. God's Unchained. This is a really nice looking game, and it has that card combat. We see this in games like Hearthstone, Magic the Gathering, etc. This is a genre, a niche that I'm not particularly excited about. I do love strategy games, and I love the idea of card style battlers, but I never really fell in love with them or got into them. With that being said, I think that the gameplay in this one is really good. The graphics are on point. I think this game is actually a really good rendition of the genre, and it's here in the play to earn space.
Yeah, I totally agree. This is a type of game that just to be totally honest, I played Magic the Gathering growing up. I love card games, strategy card games, but I find them I really want to know there's a vibrant community and that there's the game's not going anywhere before I invest the time to really understand the nuances of games in this genre. So for me, God's Unchained looks cool, looks very Hearthstone-y though. Yeah. So I have not downloaded, and it's probably not the one I'm going to download on the list just because I want to see a lot of kind of roadmap material out of the games that I'm going to invest in here, like what's coming in 2025. And their socials have been pretty quiet. Their YouTube has been pretty quiet for a few months. So I'm probably going to hold off, but also keep an eye on God's Unchained.
I actually love that you're sharing which ones you would actually want to play yourself. I think adding that personal touch is really important. Speaking of that personal touch, the next game on the list is Thetan Arena, which is one that I've spent a lot of time playing. And, both you and I, we come from the Supercell universe. We've played different Supercell games. I'm sure you've played Brawl Stars, although you never really covered it on any of your channels. This game reminds me a lot of that, and that's why I downloaded it in the past. It's a lot bigger though. It's really built off of a MOBA style gameplay, which, we know Arena of Valor and all League of Legends, etc. But it also has battle royale modes. It has different objective-based game modes. But when you look at it, you could say this could be mistaken for a Brawl Stars game. I think the game is really played out well. not played out well, but I think that they really put it together well. I think it's a really fun game. My favorite when I played it was Battle Royale. But when you're looking at this game, your initial impression, does it remind you of a Brawl Stars style game? And what are your thoughts?
Oh, absolutely. It's like a tokenized Brawl Stars,
Yeah.
definitely from the vibe. This game has been around for a while. I've heard about this game years ago, maybe 3 or 4 years ago, I would say. So it's still around. They boast 38 million players. I'm not sure if those are like, daily active, weekly active, monthly or total downloads. So again, I want to know a little bit more about the player base and what the game has in store nowadays. But the tokenomics seem to be pretty robust compared to a lot of the other games on the list. And it definitely has the look of very familiar genre game. So out of this one, to me, I feel like it's a pretty safe bet to go ahead and obviously free to download and see what you think at the very least before you want to devote your time. And it's also one of those games, unlike some of the card games, that you can just pick up and immediately get a feel. Is this your type of game,
Yeah, and it takes zero investment into any, play. You don't have to do any NFT related stuff if you don't want to. You can just play the game, and it is actually fun. I think for anyone that's into, Supercell is probably the biggest in mobile for popularity of games. If you're into any of those titles, this is probably the one on the list that would be a go-to for you to check out.
Absolutely. They're doing tournaments as of a few months ago. They're doing 50,000 THG tournaments. So I know there's a vibrant still community, but I really want to see what they have in 2025 as well, like a lot of these games.
Ash, next on the list we have Splinterlands, another card-style battling game, and you know how I feel about those types of games. We already discussed that. What are your thoughts on Splinterlands?
Well, you have this dark energy crystals. That's the in-game currency. It's, again, very deck building. It has very mixed reviews. I'm not going to lie on this one. The trailer is cool. Again, it's been around and teased for years. It seems like the community, though, is not quite as robust as some of the others on the list just by our kind of research. So God Unchained would be my choice over this one. It also looks a little bit aesthetically, like UI wise, it looks a little bit nicer to me. So it wouldn't be my first choice. But that being said, we found a big long troll video on this, not troll, a complaint video on this game. The worst NFT game ever that I watched through. And there was a lot of people in the comments saying that they actually love the game. So I want to be fair and say that it might be worth trying. There's still a very engaged player base out there.
Yeah, it's definitely one of the bigger names. And the cool thing about these lists are it's good to give people options of genres, right? To give them multiple options from one genre, and you could just download them, try them. And if it's your thing, then you could dive deeper into it. You know what's my thing is tower defense. I started playing tower defense. I love tower defense, which brings us to our next on the list, which is Crazy Defense Heroes. Now, what we're looking at here looks like a mobile style game. It looks like, what is it? Kingdom Defense or Kingdom Rush, I believe it's called.
Yeah.
It has that look and feel for sure.
Those early tower defense games, and this is great because they're easy to pick up, to your point, and just play very intuitive, and learn as you go. This one's been out for years and years too. It's really one of the OGs out there in the genre. So, and they're still developing it.
Yeah, and there's one genre that I think could really get away with, where the graphics really don't matter. And I really do feel that tower defense is that genre. Obviously you can go with old school style games as well, and that's cool, but tower defense games, they don't need to be the most beautiful games to have a really amazing experience playing them. I like graphics, so enhanced graphics definitely help, but it's not a must-have. This is one that I would definitely try out just because of the genre, and I actually think it looks really cool, and the gameplay looks like it's a lot of fun.
100%. Good community. They do have an active player base, 20 million downloads. They were top on Polygon Games, on the Dapper Radar, top voted game. They have 100K active users, so really solid, pretty robust economy as well, easy to get into. So this would be a great choice for people who are unfamiliar with the kind of the genre or the category. They just want to play something familiar, fun, light. All
right, Ash, back in the day, I remember you playing for a bit Rise of Kingdoms. You remember those good old days?
Of course, man. You were the guru on that. I dabbled very shortly, but you were the guy that was all over that. Do you still like it?
I do still like it. It's a genre that takes a lot of time. It's a massive investment because of the whole political element of the game.
Yes.
But now we have League of Kingdoms, which is a kingdom builder. Although it touts as an MMO, it's actually a kingdom builder style game, very much like a Rise of Kingdoms or many others that have come out inside of that genre. and it's in a play to earn format. Looking at it in a general impression, I think the graphics are on par with what we're getting from the competitive games. This here has all the same mechanics. Rewards for days for doing the smallest things inside of the game, where you're going to really be focusing in on and drawn into the game on the whole build up your base. You know, let's get the excitement going and really see the progress happen as you build up your castle. And then it opens up to this whole open world that's devastating, where everyone wants to steal everything from you and where you need to ally up so that you can, you know, protect yourself and all of that. But very typical looking kingdom builder here. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, man. I mean, this has been, to me, like Rise of Kingdoms is one of the biggest kind of pay to win genres out there. But like, I mean, I cover raid, and you know, so like I'm very familiar, and that's not a deal breaker for me. But the bummer about it is really to carry, put your kingdom on your proverbial back, and to carry, you need to spend a ton of money. The good thing about this genre in this space, right, with NFTs or Web3 or crypto, is that you can actually recoup some of that value, and the economy can be more vibrant and inclusive in terms of who's the winners and the losers. So I like, in principle, I think this game actually is better suited here in Web3 versus in like regular mobile games. That being said, League of Kingdoms, I want to see more from the developers, man. Like I want to show again. I know I've kind of sound like a broken record, but for us to actually be excited and invest in these games long term, our energy and eventually some of our money, you know, we need to see some hope and promise, because there's been so many, not just rug pulls, but like promises and broken promises. I don't mean to cast League of Kingdoms in the wrong light, but like give us some new trailers, give us what you're working on. I want to see some robust roadmaps. Otherwise, it's hard for me to get invested in a game like this, even though it looks like it could have a lot of promise.
Yeah, you bring up a couple of good points there. One is that really could go for a lot of the games that are being developed. Gamers that are looking to get excited really want to see step by step what's coming next, because these take a while to come out. And Web3 seems to really announce things a lot earlier than you would hear about stuff in a Web2 space, you know, from the initial thought process days of things. You also mentioned how pay to win style games really fit in well in the Web3 space, because you could extract the value from the game if you want to sell your account, things like that. So I actually do like this genre, the kingdom builder genre in Web3. I think that it's a good fit. And if the game can present itself in even better fashion than some of the Web2 options, well, then they have some legs to stand on.
Completely agree, man. Let's see something from the developer. Come on, this could be it.
It
looks good. It looks solid, you know, compared to what we've seen. In some ways, it looks even better in terms of the graphics are a little bit more updated. But I need some, you know, the few Twitter posts a year is not going to cut it, you know.
No, we want more activity. All right, Ash, I have another one for you, and I know that before I said Thetan Arena is the one for all the Supercell type fans, but there's also a game that looks very similar to Clash of Clans. And I'm talking about Heroes of Mavia. At a first glance at the game, you may even mistake it for Clash of Clans because it looks so similar, minus the actual characters inside of the game. It's Clash of Clans in Web3. Literally all of the same game mechanics. Build up your base, clear the stuff in the very beginning stages, get rid of the wood, get rid of the stone, and then build up your base, go through the different levels of Town Hall, build up different armies, and attack others. But this one's focused in Web3. So I could see a lot of people that are either into strategy games or that are big Clash of Clans fans that are interested in this space wanting to take a look at this one. What do you think of it? I think the graphics are on point.
Yeah, man. I mean, I'm always on the lookout for what games could we play for, because like our plans here on the channel, I mentioned it in the last video as well, is not just to do these top 10 lists, but more comprehensive Let's Plays and kind of getting into some of these games and having guests on from other creators from these games or players from these games. So I'm very curious. Again, I sound like a total broken record here, bro, but like repeating that this has been around for years, this game. I've heard about it for years. They were advertising with a lot of Clash of Clans content creators, for a lot of Supercell content creators, a lot of our peers are actually playing this game for years. I haven't heard a lot of noise about it recently, even though the developer is, to their credit, putting out roadmap, putting out tweets, putting out information as to what's to come. So all that looks good. I just want to know why people ended up falling off. Was it really fundamentally this couldn't come to the same level as games like Clash of Clans? You know, like, was there too much missing there? With all that said, not to be so cynical about it, this would be the game so far on the list that I'd be most apt to dive into with you in a longer video, because it's something that we know is something that we're familiar with, to your point.
Yeah, that may be something we can make happen, Ash. That may be able to be worked out over time.
I really want to know from the audience too, what games would you like to see us cover the most from these videos, and any games that you have experience with as well.
I have another one for you, and being an action RPG person myself, I have a light, I quote, very light ARPG style game here, and it's called Fableborne. It has elements of action RPG. It has more of like a torchlight visual effect to it, being a very cartoony style game, and it's more like drop in and get into these different battles rather than big dungeon running or open world MMO style experiences. But it has a very similar look and feel to action RPGs on mobile that a lot of people already are interested in and kind of vibe with. So it's got a good start as a game that's one of the first in the genre in pay to earn.
Yeah, if the pay to earn mechanics here are solid, to me, it's like this might be an easy jump into, because it's so simple, man. I mean, it looks so unbelievable. Like, you go in, you battle. It's like very hack and slash vibe, but with the upgrade kind of RPG mechanics, the level ups and stuff like that, the power ups. So yeah, man. I mean, to me, this might be, you know what? Screw it. I'm just going to stop saying it might be. I'm going to download Fableborne, because it's also on the newer side compared to a lot of the other games that were mentioned here today.
Yeah, this is probably the newest one, and I actually do have it on my phone right now as well, Ash. This is the one on the list that I actually have on my phone currently. A few of them have made their way on there and made their way off as well, but this one is currently still there. I have yet to dive into it, but being an action RPG style, it's something that really interests me. So it will be one that I dive into more. It does look like it's a lot of fun. Are you downloading it right now, man?
I'm downloading it right now. Am I that easy of a tell? I'm like, or App Store, because I don't want to forget to later, but I definitely want to check this one out, because I like this. I like small doses of action-packed fun, not big, long, complicated games, you know, that I'm going to be sitting there for a whole weekend trying to learn, you know?
I mean, you play Raid Shadow Legends, which takes a ton of time. You can't have all the games you play be time sinks, man. Some of them have to be those quick experiences.
I like my main games that I cover on YouTube, and then I like quick fun or games I can really get into with my kiddos. So this could be in either of the other two categories.
Yeah, I agree. And your kid may like the next one. It's called Plants vs. Undead. And this is a cool looking game. It's essentially a very simplified tower defense style game where you have your defenses that you upgrade, and it just kind of goes down one solo path. So you don't have to do any strategy around different pathways, what defenses you want to put where. You just have to essentially drop your defenses, upgrade them as they come to take down the larger hordes, and keep them away from your plants. What do you think about it?
This one's bizarre. I actually played a... we got a game. Have you ever heard of Cuphead for Switch or no?
No, I'm not a Switch guy.
Oh my God, you got to check it out. You got to check out the gameplay alone. It's like, it's a very unique vibe. I'm not saying this is the same necessarily, but it's kind of like, it's out there and it's pretty cool. Like you said, it might appeal especially to kids out there. It's very, the tokenomics on this one is pretty interesting. It's very NFT based. So you have plants, and the plants can have other plants, and there's like real world items that you're actually using in game on the tower defense part of it. So it looks very interesting. It's a unique blend of like, it seems made for kidsy, and also has like very strong on the tokenomics side. So I don't know if that blend really jives with me. It's probably not going to be the first thing on my list here, but it looks interesting. Let us know if you have any experience with it, guys.
Yeah, it looks easy to dive into, but also, in my opinion, probably something that would be fairly easy to forget. But it is a good initial step maybe into tower defense in a simplistic format.
And hey, maybe we're wrong, so let us know if you feel otherwise on any of these games.
All right, Ash, and I have another one for you that is different than all the others from the list so far. I thought it was important to bring in something that was just a little bit of a change, and that is called NFL Rivals, an American football game, which you know I love football myself. This game looks cool. Reviews are on point, which you could speak on a little bit more. And if you're looking for a sports game that's maybe not a Madden and in a different genre of, you know, play to earn, this could be an option for players as well. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, man. First of all, what's your favorite sports games typically? Like, what would you rank the pantheon of you in sports game? Like, you know, like basketball, baseball, soccer, whatever.
I mean, NFL, I was just playing Madden with my son yesterday.
Okay, so NFL's number one for you?
Yeah, NFL's number one. I'm not a big sports game guy typically, though, to be honest. I love football in real life, but I'm not a big player of it. But it would be Madden. Yeah. How about you?
In real life, I'm everything NBA. So I love basketball games, but I feel like maybe it's just I'm old. I think that's the problem, because now I find the new NBA games like very difficult and also like complicated. You know, I like the NBA, you know, Jam, or jams. Even earlier than that. You know, the Magic vs. Bird type games, like very easy. What was the NES Double Dribble for NES? You know?
Oh my God, those were great.
That's my style, but I actually like hockey games a lot, and I'm not even like a massive hockey fan, but I think that hockey games are really fun. Anyway, NFL games can be fun. I love good old Tecmo Bowl back in the day. Like, I was a big fan, again, of showing my age here. But the cool thing about the NFL Rivals is it looks really, really nice, and it's actually it has like really good reviews compared to regular Madden mobile games, for example. A lot of people actually say it's preferable, which is really cool to see.
Yeah, I mean, bringing in the gameplay style that people like, putting a tweak on it. They have that little badass feel to it, right? Their logo has the mohawk on it. They give it that rock and roll feel, which I think is a lot of fun. So it's a football game that brings in some outside fun as well. And I really like that this one is doing so well, being a play to earn game as well, and that the audience and the players are kind of embracing the game itself. So being the last one on the list, I think it was a good one to finish off with.
Yeah, man, it's cool. Let us know if you want to see any more sports games. We could probably have a whole dedicated video on the best sports games out there as well, because there's actually a few newer ones as well. But yeah, definitely NFL Rivals is a good way to end this video off. Let us know which game in the comments out of all of these you're most apt to try. And if you do end up giving him a try, I already shared personally, I think I might get NFL Rivals as well, just to see what's up with it, you know? But other than that, I'm on the fence on Heroes of Mavia. And what was the other one I said I wanted to do?
That was Fableborne.
And so Fableborne as well. What about you? Are you going to give any of these a try?
Yeah, well, why don't I give you my top 3 from the list?
Let's do it.
Heroes of Mavia is going to be my probably number 1. Fableborne will be my number 2, although that's the one that's on my phone right now. And I really like Thetan Arena. I've played a lot in the past, and it's definitely one that I would enjoy playing again. Those are my top 3 from our list.
All right, we'll start adding our top 3s at the end of all these videos. What do you say?
Great idea. Let's do it.
All right, Echo, that's another one in the books. Thanks again for you guys for joining us. Let us know again if you want to see a spotlight of any of these games or different games in the comments below.